and welcome, and thank you for joining me. We're continuing our series on admin essentials for beginners, and today we're going to talk about standard objects. I'm also going to cover which areas of Salesforce those objects are used in, and they will depend on your organization. So some organizations use objects differently than they were meant for, but as an admin, it is really important for you to know what was the intent behind that object, what is the usage of it, because if you do not know the standard objects usage, then when you get requirements, you will not know which objects to use it for, and then you may end up creating a custom object for something that already exists in Salesforce. So you don't want to recreate. And standard objects also come with their own set of special features that you will not be able to use if you use custom objects. And the reverse is also true. If something does not meet with standard objects, then only you want to create a custom object. All right. So now let's look into each of these different boxes, and I'll explain you the color coding and what are these objects for. And just to call out, this is not the entirety of standard objects. There are many more standard objects in Salesforce, but these are just beginner-friendly basic objects. Okay, so orange ones here are related to marketing. Then we have sales related to green color. And the gray ones are mostly used interchangeably. They are used throughout the org. They're not specific to one particular branch. And then we have support with the blue, case and knowledge. So let's talk about account and what is account. So in the last video, we gave an example of a company. So usually in very generic term, accounts are companies and they can be anything. So if you are, let's say, a shop or a business and you work with different companies, you can store that information in the account object. And the table that we looked at, and let me just bring that up here, we created that table with different names, right? ABC Inc., Philadelphia Library. This could be your company records. Those are accounts. So if you wanted to store company information, you would use account object for that and add these individual records. So account, pretty straightforward. And then it comes with its own set of fields, which you also looked about. So you have name, revenue, number of employees, company, how big is the company, address information is really important. All of that information comes out of the box. And in order, anytime you need to know what an object has, you can go to setup and you go to object manager and then just go to that object. And standard objects, you will not have _C. So the API name is just account, and fields will have all these fields: account name, number, owner, site, source, and so on. And anytime you see _C, that means that was custom created. So I created this field. Salesforce, when you create your own developer org, you will not see this active field because I created that in my org. So anywhere you see _C, that's basically custom created, and everything else is standard out of the box. There is also developer documentation where you can get very specific and they will give you all the list of fields, which I will link in the comment below. But that is too much information. But right now we just focus on all the fields that's here: phone, rating, reason, and so on. That's account. The account is company. Then we talk about contact. And the reason contact is gray is because contact can be used by different organizations. Your marketing team may need contact, sales needs contacts, and also customer support need contact. So what do you think contact means? It's exactly what it sounds like. Contact is a person. Even when you're storing a person information on your phone, you go to your phone and say add contact. That's the contact. So it's always a person. If we go back to the Excel from last video, we started adding first name, last name, email, phone for different people, and we were saying which company they work for. All this information can be stored in a contact object. So contact means people, and the reason it will be used by marketing is to send them marketing emails. So if you sign up for any sort of website or any sale, you will see all these marketing emails coming, like here's the deal, discount going on, buy this stuff, right? You'll see all those emails. How is that coming to you? That's through your contact information that they have. Sales, let's say you ordered something in Amazon or anywhere, and you immediately get that here's your order, here's your tracking information, and sometimes even the bill will come in the email. So that's how they're using your contact information in their system. Customer service or support is the same thing. So if you call up Amazon service rep, they will pick up the phone and get your information, and they will start to look up some information on their end, and they're basically looking up your contact information. So it's a key to connect all these dots together. So now you know the whole picture of contact. And in Salesforce, it's a good practice to have a contact associated with an account. So in that Excel again, we said, let's add company for that account, for the contacts. So John Doe works in Acme Inc. Jane Doe works in ABC Inc. And ABC Inc. and Acme Inc. should be present in the account information. That is one-to-many relationship. We will look at in more detail about what is one-to-many, but basically know that one account can have multiple contacts. And I'm going to denote by using this symbol. So basically, one account will have many contacts, so that is one-to-many. Just a very simple definition of one-to-many. There are different types of one-to-many in Salesforce, which we will talk in more detail, but just know that one account have multiple contacts. So that's contact. Then comes, let's talk about user for a second. So, when you sign up for a Salesforce org, I mentioned that you had to enter your email address and then get a username. And all those are the attributes of a user. The user is different from contact because user is the person who is using the system. Contact is the people information that you store, but they have some similar fields. So in order to find out the user information, you'll actually just go to, instead of trying to find, usually we come here and we find the tabs. For accounts, we go here to show all the records of accounts. For contacts as well, we'll just come here, contacts, we'll see all the contacts here. But for the user, we don't have tab for a user like that. For user, we have to go to our setup, and then you can either go to here, home, and here you can type user. And when you do that, you'll see a list of users in your system. Right now, I'm the only user because this is my org, this is my test environment. But if you are using a client sandbox or environment, you'll see multiple users listed here. And we'll talk about what is this dropdown, how do you create it. But if I do all users, I do have some other random users that Salesforce comes with when you enable an org. And then if I just go to one of these, just go to my user record. So here you can see I have name, email, username, information about the user like time zone, locale, and this controls how you are seeing it. So let's say if I change this language from English to Spanish, all of these words on my screen will change to Spanish. And if I was in a different time zone, I could also change this thing. So, and currency. So if I'm looking at some other currency fields that we talked about, the reason it is showing me in US dollars is because of my locale is set to that country. If I change to something else, I can also see rupees if I set it to India, for example. So all of those things are controlled by user fields. And in order to know what user fields are from the backend, you can, again, go to the same place, Object Manager. Then you go to user, type user, and you are here on the user. And these are all the fields that user comes with. Anything that doesn't have _C, that Salesforce comes with. And some of the fields are required. So for example, you cannot create a user without a username, without an email, without the last name. So those fields are required by the system. All right, let's go back to our list of objects. And user is also used throughout the org because every object here, account, contact, everything also is related to user, okay? And the reason for that is whenever you create something in Salesforce, so let's say I created a contact, it will track that. It's an audit feature. So like everybody needs to know who created something or who modified something. And this is where created by and last modified by is giving my name, and that's my user information. And it is also one-to-many relationship. So one user could have been creating multiple accounts, multiple contacts. So going back here, so how will the arrow be here? Is it one user to like that, one-to-many? Because one user can create multiple contacts or accounts. So in fact, user has that arrow to everything here. So user also needs to link to contact, for example. So this is also one-to-many because the same user can create contacts as well. So that is the relationship between user, and they are represented by created by and last modified by. Don't get too hung up on, If you cannot understand the relationships right away, just keep in mind one to many, just keep it simple. Then we have opportunity. Opportunity object is basically how do you track your deals, right? So again, coming back to that company example, so you're a business, you're selling something, and if you want to track that, what am I selling and how much is that cost for? So that's where opportunity comes in. Let's say you are an industry, cut that out. Let's say you are a restaurant supplier. So you have wholesale restaurant products. You have kitchen supplies and food and everything that you deal with restaurant companies all across the world. So the restaurants will come to you and ask for, hey, I'm trying to start a restaurant and I need 5 to 10 tables for my restaurant, right? Then you will have a salesperson working with that restaurant customer. And basically, in that case, you may say, okay, for 10 tables, this is what our package deal is. We give you a discount of some percent, and we're going to close this deal for about $10,000, for example. I'm going to give you $1,000 per table. 10,000 is your total amount. Now, once the sales rep starts having that conversation, they can create an opportunity just to keep a track. So because all these businesses, they want to know, all your sales leadership will want to know, what is the business coming up next month? So let's say if this person, restaurant customer, just comes to you and starts talking to you about they need 10 tables, right? There needs to be a way to track that in the system so that you can forecast ahead of time that, hey, next month, I'm going to have that 10 tables sold, which means I'm going to make $10,000 sales. It is important for a business to know and forecast that for future on how much sales is coming up. And let's say that they don't have any opportunities created. What does that mean? You don't have anything in your pipeline, which means there will be no sales in the next month, which is really bad for a business. So these are really key information that business loves to track and monitor so that they can get a better understanding of their finances. Same goes for last month as well. So if you wanted to see how many sales I made last quarter or last year and compare that to next year, so we can do all that sort of thing by opportunity object. All right, hope I didn't lose you there. Let's try to create a new opportunity, and then that will help you paint a better picture because this is a really important object in Salesforce. Okay, so I'm just going to create restaurant deal because we're talking about the restaurant example. And let's just say I already have the restaurant record created. If I didn't have this, I would create a new account. Basically, I would create that potential customer, that restaurant. Let's just say Acme Inc. is the restaurant here because I want to associate this opportunity to that customer that is coming in. And stage is the required field on opportunity. So what does stage mean is basically, what do I think, what stage they are in? I will say prospecting because they're just asking about the deal. We don't really know if they're going to close or not, or if they're going to actually buy or not. Just because I'm creating an opportunity doesn't mean that that's a solid deal, which is why we have a probability of 10% that it will sell. You can add type if you like. All the other fields are optional, but the more data you can add, the better. And amount. So in this example of restaurant, I have not done any calculation yet. All I know is they may need 10 tables, so I'm just going to estimate at $10,000. Because if I've been selling tables for a while, I will know that this deal may be $10,000, and then I'll save this. And that's it. So now I know I am going to have a 10,000 deals, and that will close sometime in actually August of this month. So this month end, I'll have 10,000 deal. Great. So my manager as a sales rep can know, okay, this is coming up in the pipeline. And we will deep dive into different stages and what's the process, all those different opportunity specific information in future videos as well. But just to give you an idea, opportunity is where a deal is tracked. Then we have product. Product is where you store your product's information and how much is cost for each table. So in this case, I'll have a table as a product, and each table cost will be $1,000. So then when I add 10 tables, that means I will be making $10,000. depending on how much quantity. So it's a simple maths, right? You can multiply the quantity with the amount of product, and that is your total amount. And opportunity to the product is many to many, because one product can be linked to multiple opportunities, and one opportunity can have multiple products. So it's not one to many, but it's many to many. And we will see this in future videos on how to create a many to many relationship. But basically, for right now, we just know that these are many to many. So I'm just gonna give this notation here, both side arrows. There is another object in between, but we're not gonna get into that and confuse ourselves right now. So this is all you need to know. And if you're interested in what the fields are on the product, again, you need to go to product object, like how we have been doing it. And product is actually API name is product2. And I still don't know what the reason was behind why Salesforce chose to do this. There may have been a background limitation, but anyways, so, and all of these are fields. So you can have a product code, description, name, SKU. You may have heard SKU if you buy things online. Every product has its own SKU. Then comes the code object. And this is basically, think of them like giving different options to your potential customers. So let's say first you can quote them for 12,000, and they may be like, actually, we don't like this price. And it's back and forth between the seller and the buyer. And we usually use quote to track those. And at some point, one of the quote that the customer will like and they both agree on, and that's the quote that gets finalized. And then a document gets sent by the seller to the buyer where they can sign the document, and then that means they're closing the deal. So, and you will not see this a lot in, like, let's say e-commerce, where you're just buying something for yourself and that's it. But if you're buying something in bulk, even when you go to different websites and try to buy a license for something, you'll notice that when you try to buy a basic plan, they will just let you buy it online. But let's say if you wanted to buy for an enterprise, there will be a button saying, contact us for enterprise pricing, which means they have to make sure that they're giving you the best price, and that's why they'll use quote and go back and forth. So it's like a whole sales process, and that's where quote comes in. The quote is connected to opportunity. So one opportunity could have multiple quotes because you can go back and forth, and that allows for flexibility. So that's why there can be multiple quotes in one opportunity. So this is why this will be like this. So you have one-to-many relationship there. And just like always, go to your Salesforce and play around with the quote object. One thing though about quote is, if you are in a brand new org, you will have to enable it. So if you go to setup, you can go to quote and go to quote settings, and you have to enable. So I'm seeing disable because for me it's already enabled, but you have to enable the quote, then only you can see the quote object. Next one, let's look at the marketing objects. And I'm going to cover this at a very high level. Even within Salesforce organizations, marketing is a different department, and there's a lot that goes into marketing. But from specifically Salesforce perspective, campaign is where the marketing folks track their campaigns. So sometimes when there's vacation or holiday times, right, you'll get deals from, here's Christmas offer, 50% off, or Black Friday deals, or whatever it might be, right? Those are different campaigns that the businesses are running to get your attention. And there can be different types of campaigns. Sometimes it can be for, we need to get more sales campaign, or sometimes it's about raising awareness about something. That's a campaign itself. You will hear about election campaigns. So there are different types of campaigns, and that's what Salesforce is also used for, to just do something with those campaigns. And majority of the cases, the purpose of the campaign is to attract people or attract leads, so that they know your company, they know who you are, and so that they will convert to a potential buyer at some time in future. And that brings me to lead and campaign member. And here, so as a result of campaigns, people will come to your org. Let's just say I have a campaign that I want to advertise about this brand new table design that is just launched. We're just sticking with that table example. How will I advertise that? Maybe I'll run ads on Google, I'll run ads on social media, and people will click on that page. Now, when they click on that page, there will be something asking for their email address, first name, last name. And you may have been already familiar with this. Like you will see all these ads on your Instagram or Facebook, right? And you can click on it and it will take you to a page, landing page, and that's where you can enter all your information. What is happening in the background? And more than likely, they're collecting the data and that's being sent into a Salesforce, and that's captured as a lead. And lead and contact are very similar, as in like they both have people information, but lead is more like, we just captured you. We don't know if you are gonna become a customer yet or not. It's gonna store you as a lead, and lead does not require an account. So I can just have a lead record saying first name, last name, company, email address, phone number, all the basic information without actually having to create an account for you, because I don't really know if you're even going to become a customer. So I'm just going to store you as a lead. And how do you know which lead came out of which campaign? So because as a company, I might be running multiple campaigns. I might have a table campaign for this specific design of table. I might have a different holiday campaign, Black Friday campaign for different deals that I'm running. So I need to keep a track of which campaigns are bringing me the most amount of leads, because that is how I'm going to decide where do I budget next year. So next year, if I'm running more set of campaigns, because they cost money, right? They add revenue. You have to pay money to run these ads. So if a campaign is not bringing leads, not adding any value, then maybe I will not run that campaign again. So think of it that way. So like that's why we will link campaign to lead. That's how you know this campaign brought this many leads, this campaign brought this many contacts, and so on. So that's the object campaign member. So campaign member kind of stays between campaign and lead. In fact, I should move this over here, just like this. So one lead, one person could have signed up for multiple campaigns. So one person could be part of multiple campaigns. All right, so that's all about marketing objects. And then we have customer and service support. So whenever you have an issue with your product, or maybe you ordered something and you didn't get it in time, or it just didn't arrive, you will probably call customer support, right? And they will get your phone number, they'll get your contact information and create a case. Sometimes they also call it a ticket or support ticket. Whatever it might be, it's all the same terminology, case. And case object is also associated with people, contact information, so that we know who created the case. And in some cases also related to account, because let's say if you are a priority customer, so you're a prime member, for example, or you bought a license and you are like top tier, even if you're an airlines company, right? If you are like the top tier customer of that hotel or airlines, they will have all those account information stored just to make sure that they're giving you the priority treatment because you are a priority customer. So all of that information will be tracked on your account. They'll say, okay, this person works for this company and that's our gold member. So we will treat your cases with severity 1. So they will immediately get on it. Versus if somebody else calls, they're from a small company, maybe they will not be immediately attended to. Their SLA will be different, 3 to 5 days or 1 to 2 days, something like that. So that's why case is also related to account. And case has fields that you would expect. So if I go to case object, we'll have like case number. It's an auto number. We already know what auto number is. Case origin, how did the case originate? Did it come from phone or web or email? Owner, like who owns the case, who is working on that case? And that is a lookup to user. So different users in the system can own the case, so on. So it's all very generic information about the person that opened the case and what the case is about and so on, to track the problems that you're dealing with. Knowledge, I just added it here at a very brief level. So knowledge is basically articles that can help people solve the case. So sometimes if you go to a website, if you bought something, there will be FAQ, and you can also serve yourself. So you can get an answer on the company's website by going to that article. Those are knowledge articles. So they can also be stored in Salesforce and then create a portal so that users can search for their own issues and not create a case. Knowledge also can help the customer reps internally. So if you have service reps, they can also refer to the knowledge article to help the customer. All right, so I know that was a lot of information, but these are the basic objects. I highly recommend go to your Salesforce that you signed up for, go to each objects, and every Salesforce org already comes with some pre-built objects and records as well. So if you go to accounts in your org, you'll already see some accounts are pre-populated. Go play around with them, change the fields, maybe add a few custom fields in there, and just see how it works. Create an account, then create a contact for that account, create an opportunity for that account, and let's try things out. I do think these are basic foundation that you really need to know as an admin, and this will help you in the long run. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if there are any questions.